The PSL is a Romanian military-designated marksman rifle. It is also called PSL 54C, Romac 3, FPK and SSG 97. Though similar in appearance to the SVD Dragunov, the PSL rifle is actually based on the APK light machine gun. Overview. The project to develop the PSL commenced after the Soviet Union ceased sharing technical information and exporting military equipment to Romania, as a consequence of the latter's refusal to join the invasion of Czechoslovakia. PSL rifles were originally made at the Regia Autonoma Florin pentru Producerea Dienică Florin Militară Florin Ratnul Cugia Arsenal in Cugia, Romania. After a consolidation of military arsenals when Romania joined NATO, production of the PSL is now at the SC Fabrica de Arme Cugia SA in Cugia, Romania, which is completely retooled with all brand new state-of-the-art equipment. The PSL rifle's primary purpose is to be used by a platoon-level designated marksman to engage targets at ranges beyond the capabilities of the standard-issue AKM carbines. It is built around a stamped steel receiver similar to that of the APK light machine gun. Having a wider forward section enabling a strengthened, more substantial front trunnion. The PSL's operation is the same long-stroke piston action of the Kalashnikov family of weapons. Its appearance is similar to the Dragunov sniper rifle, yet not one single part interchanges between the rifles. The PSL is chambered for the same venerable 7.62A, 54mm cartridge as the Dragunov, and feeds from a 10-round detachable box magazine. The magazine used on the PSL differs from that of Dragunov models in that it is stamped with an X-shaped pattern in the side, rather than the waffle-style stamp found on the Russian and Chinese magazines. The magazines, though they are similar in shape and size, are not interchangeable between the Dragunov and PSL without modification. The PSL has been in service in Romania since the 1970s and is widely sold on the world market. They are frequently encountered in Iraq, where they appear to be quite popular. The simplicity of the rifle makes it ideal for soldiers to use and maintain. The action, being a variant of the AKMs, is extremely reliable despite lack of maintenance, and is particularly forgiving of sand and other debris. The scope's reticle pattern is easy to use and makes range estimation quick and reasonably accurate without any mathematical calculations necessary. With some simple instruction, an average individual can be issued a PSL and successfully engage targets at ranges that far exceed the accurate capabilities of non-scoped assault rifles like the AKM, AK-47, etc. Accuracy varies greatly, however, between individual rifles to a greater extent to other rifles in its class, probably due to insufficient quality control during the manufacturing process. In the hands of a capable shooter and with quality ammunition such as 7N1 and 7N14, a PSL is capable of 1 minute of angle or less, while the rifles on the other end of the spectrum are only capable of about 3 MOA. PSL rifles have some notable features. The skeleton stock is somewhat similar to the Dragunov's but includes an interesting corrugated and spring-loaded stamped steel butt plate. When the rifle is fired, this helps reduce the felt recoil to a degree. The cheek riser on the comb of the stock is angled to benefit the right-handed shooter primarily. Some owners feel the cheek pad is not high enough to adequately attain a rigid cheek weld and have to make do with a chin weld. The ALll stock is much shorter than most Western shooters are used to. This is because Romanian soldiers often operate in very cold climates and wear thick winter coats while operating. In theory, a rubber stock extender is to be fitted during warm weather, but one is not issued with the rifle. LPS4A, 6° TIP2 telescopic sight equals. The PSL's telescopic sight is made by the Romanian Optical Enterprise, IOR, in Bucharest. IOR is a Romanian company which has been making optics since 1936. They currently use German-made shot glass coated with the ALll Zeiss T3 system to eliminate glare and maximize light transmission. It is unknown what glass and coatings they used at the time they produced the PSL's scope, however IOR had a long association with Western European optics manufacturers and maintained these despite being caught within the Iron Curtain. In 1967 ALll collaborated with various German manufacturers, and in 1975 an association was established with ALll Zeiss, which led to even more expansion and modernization. The PSL was originally issued with the Type 1 version of the LPS telescopic sight. This 4A24 scope was more or less identical to the Russian PSO-1 telescopic sight with a battery-powered reticle illumination and an IR detection filter. These scopes stopped being produced around 1974 and are rather rare today, with collectors paying a premium for them. Shortly afterward, the LPS scope was technically revised to simplify the maintenance and construction of the scope. The PSL rifle is typically issued with a 4A24 optical sight called LPS-4A, 6° TIP2, which is a simplified version of the Russian PSO-1 telescopic weapon sight. This optical sight features 4A magnification, a 6° field of view, and the objective lens is 24 mm in diameter. It shares the basic design and stadiometric rangefinder found in the reticle of the original Russian PSO-1 scope. The LPS-4A 6° TIP2 elevation turret features bullet drop compensation in 50 m increments for engaging point and area targets at ranges from 100 m up to 1000 m. The BDC feature must be tuned at the factory for the particular ballistic trajectory of a particular combination of rifle and cartridge at a predefined air density. Inevitable BDC-induced errors will occur if the environmental and meteorological circumstances deviate from the circumstances the BDC was calibrated for. Marksmen can be trained to compensate for these errors. Besides the BDC elevation or vertical adjustment control of the reticle, the windage or horizontal adjustment control of the reticle can also be easily dialed in by the user without having to remove turret caps, etc. The reticle illumination of the LPS-4A 6° TIP2 is provided by tritium. The tritium light source has to be replaced every 8 to 12 years, since it gradually loses its brightness due to radioactive decay. The LPS-4A 6° TIP2 is issued with a lens hood that can be attached to the ocular to eliminate image quality impairing stray light, and covers to protect the objective external lens surface against foul weather and damage. Mounting system. The LPS telescopic sight proprietary mount is adjustable for tension on the LPS rifle side rail. This side rail is a Warsaw-packed mounting dovetail similar in design to the mounting used for Russian SVD rifles and PSO-1 optical sights, and positions the telescopic sight axis to the left side in relation to the receiver and bore center axis. The Warsaw-packed mount has a castle nut that screws into the bottom of the locking lever. The spring-loaded portion of the clamp has to be pressed down to tighten or loosen the castle nut as needed. The scope can be easily removed from the receiver of the rifle by swinging the locking lever open, then sliding the scope mount to the rear. This allows easy access to the receiver cover, which needs to be removed for cleaning. Due to the offset to the left and the relative height of the mounting, the PSL iron sights can be used with the LPS scope mounted, though the positioning of the Skopje Euro unregistered trademark S optical center axis may not be comfortable to all shooters. Users: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Iraq, Moldova, Nicaragua, Romania, North Korea, Ukraine. Seen in hands of Ukrainian government forces during Second Battle of Donetsk Airport. Sporting version. A sporting version of the PSL, intended for export, is offered as the PSL 54C, Romak 3, FPK, Dragunov or SSG 97. This weapon is identical in almost every respect to the original military version of the PSL, except for modifications to comply with the U.S. import laws regarding sporting rifles. These modifications include removal of the bayonet lug as well as the replacement of the original military receiver, which has 3 trigger mechanism axis pinholes instead of 2. The third hole is for a safety sear that is thought to allow the rifle to be capable of being converted to full auto by the end user. U.S. import versions are manufactured with a BATFE-approved semi-auto Romanian receiver. The so-called third hole is not present, thus the trigger mechanism is simplified and omits the full auto safety sear. The military-spec FPK is not capable of fully automatic fire, however it includes this safety sear to ensure the rifle's hammer cannot be released before the bolt is fully forward and locked in place in the forward trunnion. Because of this fact, and the lack of a spring-loaded firing pin, there is some theoretical potential that the U.S. legal PSL could fire out of battery. The U.S. commercial spec rifles also sometimes omit the bolt hold-open mechanism that is on the true military spec rifles. All sporting versions of the PSL are constructed using original Romanian parts and assembled either in Romania or in the United States, some using American-made receivers. Examples of the commercial sporting version were also available in the 7.62A, 51mm NATO cartridge as opposed to the 7.62A, 54mm, and these rifles are typically chambered for. A PSL with a 16 inches barrel was also marketed as the FPK Paratrooper, but no such rifle exists within the Romanian military, being purely a US-made variant. These rifles were primarily imported by Century Arms International, Interordnance, and Tennessee gun importers. Gallery. References. ALll, E. Harrisburg, PA, Stackpole Books, pages 637. ISBN 0-88029-601-1, Gar 1/4 NTER alert. Rainer Lidstrom. Wilfried Copenhagen, Illustriert Enzyklopädie Currency die Deutsche 1/4 Waffen aus aller Welt, Sche 1/4 Waffenhut, Berlin, Militär Currency Verlag der Deutschen Demokratischen Republik, 1988. OCLC 19630248, Rotman, Gordon. Shumate, Johnny, Kalashnikov AK-47 Assault Rifle, Osprey Publishing, 2011, ISBN 978-84908-461-1. External links and sources, official site, dragunov.net, Romanian PSL, website by Tantal, which describes proper method for adjusting the PSO type scope clamps, video of person shooting a PSL, video showing how to adjust PSO scope.